coming to you with another session of Real Talk with Tammi B and Company, the show where we are recording live so that you amazing people can engage with us via the YouTube chat. So if you are watching via another platform, and want to be part of our conversation, I invite you to jump on over to YouTube at That's a Woman. And if you are on YouTube, please, sir, please, ma'am, feel free to interact with us throughout this conversation. And you know, I am always grateful for you, beautiful people, being with us, and want to ask if you're not part of our community, please consider joining by subscribing as we are here weekly at 7:30 p.m. With Eastern with new content. And so I do want to go ahead and also ask if you enjoy our conversation, which conversation, when I tell you, I've been waiting all day for it. I know it's going to be deep and good. If you enjoy our conversation, please support us by clicking the like button and sharing it with others. And also to the men, yes, the men. Saturday, August 1st is our men's only transformational conference as part of our real monthly Real Men Real Talk. We are having pause, breathe, Bro, You Matter, which will be a safe space for men to come together and hear from dynamic speakers and talk freely about their mental health. So, ladies, no ladies allowed. I apologize, but this is for the men. And so, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, or if you are a male vendor, you want to be a part of this, you can email me at thassawoman@gmail.com for more details. Now, I am always extremely grateful for you amazing people being with us, in which I would hey sister Matt, what is it? Mayat? I think that might be for you, sister Mo. I think somebody's shouting you out in the chat already. So I'm grateful for everyone.
Monye.
Manye. Well, she spelled it MA-AT. So that's what threw me. But I'm grateful for all of you being here with us this evening. Oh, and we have a full house. We have my man, Mr. Shelly Sims, who is our resident realtor. Good evening, Shelly.
Good evening, everyone, all you ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And then we have our girl, Miss Dr. Maya Harold, who is our advocate for people in the domestic violence space. Good evening, Dr. Maya.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing tonight?
Greetings.
Fine. How are you? I'm good.
Amazing. I hope you are as well. And so tonight is Wisdom Wednesdays. So we have the crew with us and an addition. So we have the queens, which we have Miss Sylvia Standback. Good evening, Abuela.
Good evening. And in the chat, I mean, some people know me by Sister Mayat. So that's what that was. I appreciate y'all.
Yes. Yep, that's what somebody just put. Miss Sylvia knows she go by Sister Mayat while she playing. That would be Miss Morgan Myers. And she said, peace, Monier, and peace, Miss Penelope.
Peace, Morgan.
Yes, yes. And we have Miss Penelope. Good evening, Miss P.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well.
Amazing. Good evening.
We are. And then we just gonna officially label him the king of Wisdom Wednesday for when he pop in. We have Mr. Van Dorn Hennett. Good evening, Mr. Van Dorn.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. Greetings and salutations. And the crew brought a special guest with us this evening. We have Miss Monier joining us. Good evening, Monier.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone had an amazing day.
Hello,
Yes,
hello.
we
Yeah.
did.
Hi.
We did. Welcome and thank you so much for joining. And so, before I ask the next question that I was going to ask, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the Crystal Queen CQ herself. So, Monye is a crystal educator and spiritual guidance counselor known for her powerful, no fluff teaching style. I already like that. I like that. As a co-founder of Copper Vibrations, she combines crystal wisdom, numerology, human design, and what is it? Cardology.
Cardiology.
Okay, cardology to help people understand themselves on a deeper level and move with intention. Girl, you a woman after my own heart. So welcome, 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 Queen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So now, Chris, Monier said before we started the recording that she had a super busy day. She had a super busy day because it's a full moon. So, with it being a full moon, I asked the question and then I thought about it. I said, you know what? I want to wait to the other side of the camera. I wanted to get on the recording. So, Monier, what should we do in the full moon, girl?
Well, the full moon is always about releasing. So I know a lot of people get it confused. People try to set their intentions under the full moon, but that's actually done on a new moon. The full moon is about releasing, right? Releasing what no longer serve you, or releasing so that you can bring in more, right? And so this particular full moon is in Libra. So Libra focuses on relationships, both romantic, business, and family relationships. And it's about balance and reciprocity. So when you think about Libra, you think about the scales. So it's the scales of justice, right? So this moon, we're going to release feelings around injustice, right? So where we are dwelling in places where we may feel like we were not done correctly, we're going to release that energy so that the justice can come in.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, yes. So, I think that full moon showed up at the right time, especially with just even the recent activities that have taken place with the bombing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, oh my
Yes.
God.
It's also it also focuses on this particular full moon wants to focus on where you may be overgiving, where you may be people pleasing, and where you may be tolerating that imbalance, right? And so I like Libra. Libra is an air sign. So it's constantly changing, but it is one of those when you think about Libra, you really just think about justice, right? So if something is feeling off under the Libra sign, it's not random. It is you paying attention and trying to balance those scales.
Wow. Wow. Shelly, you were gonna say something? You,
I'm
you
listening because my mom's a Libra and she sounds like her.
and I have several good friends that are Libras, and Libras are they're very vocal about their thoughts and opinions. So I love it. I
Yes,
love
they're always striving for balance. They're trying to get that balance. And Libras are going to point out where they feel unjust, like injustice is happening right here. So let me tell you about it. Yes, those air signs are excellent communication signs. So you think about Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius, they're all about communication. So people may be talking a lot more than usual. And it's interesting that you have this podcast tonight on a full moon. So everybody's going to have a lot to say, which is going to be good.
I know that just changed the dynamics of some things that I'm gonna skip through a lot of stuff now because I want to hear what is said on this one. Oh my gosh. But so everybody forgive me if I don't do the round robin and ask how y'all doing because y'all already see the stage is set. So I'm gonna skip that part. But I do want to take a moment and acknowledge all the birthdays to those who are born in the month of April. Happy birthday. This is what entering Aries season.
Yes.
Yes.
And Venus, the
So,
ruler of Libra, just entered Aries too. So it's a lot going on right now in the cosmos.
ooh, ooh,
Mhm.
okay. Okay, girl, look, girl, I need to talk more to you, girl. You dropping it. But you know what? I know about the different houses. I just haven't never really dug into my different houses and the rulings and the planets and stuff like that. But that's you might have to come back and give a talk on that because people need to understand that stuff because it affects us. It really does. Okay, so I also want to do a quick follow up. So last week we had a conversation on the missing years of Jesus' life from 12 to 30 that was omitted from the Bible. And the subject came up about Jesus being married to Mary Magdalene. And I don't know if she's watching tonight, but B. Campbell Nails asked us to provide sources for that. So I wanted to follow up and state that some of the sources was the Da Vinci Code talked about it, the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail, and then the omitted books from the Bible, the Gospel of Mary and the Gospel of Philip talked about it. Now, Miss Sylvia, Miss P, Miss Van Dorn, or anybody, do anybody have any other potential sources around that particular topic?
No, you called out mine.
I called out your.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Well, I shall carry on. All right. And give us our mental health tip of the day because we definitely want to tap into our mental health at all times. And the tip for today is to take some time to reflect on causes that you care about. Think of one way you can support these causes, whether it's through your time, your donations, etc. There are many ways that you can volunteer your time. There are so many ways you can volunteer your time to mental health. Not only is volunteering a way to support other people, it can also boost your mental health along the way. Research has shown that when you help other people, the reward center in your brain is kickstarted and you get to get a rush of endorphins, which make you feel happier. So, volunteering and acts of kindness can decrease stress, increase your self esteem, and can add meaning to your life. So get out and do something kind for others in that space. Now, I do want to acknowledge that April is known for a couple things, and it's known for Earth Month, and it's also known for National Humor Month and Stress Awareness, to which I encourage everyone to pay attention to their stress levels because, again, as we talk, there's a lot going on, a lot of releasing needs to be done. Stop holding on to that tension in your body. In fact, was in a powerful women's circle last night, and we talked about the importance of releasing stress from your body because it has adverse effects on you. So you matter. So take care of you. All right. And then our little fun food fact. Today's fun food fact is National Sourdough Bread Day, which that bread right there became a favorite after I did the research. So no longer care for wheat and whole and all the other stuff. So did took a liking to wheat bread. But I want to acknowledge we do know that April 1st is April Fool's Day. And so I wanted to take a minute to really understand as best I could the meaning of April Fool's Day. So let me tell you guys what I found out. All right. So one of the theories is the calendar shift theory, which is the most popular one. Which is when countries switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar in the 1500s. New Year's moved from late March to April 1st. I'm sorry, late March slash April 1st to January 1st. The people who didn't know or refused to change were mocked and called April Fools. The psychological meaning behind it is that it releases tension through humor, which I just said April is humor month. It challenges what we believe is real. and it reminds us not to take everything so seriously. Now, the spiritual meaning behind it is that it's about discernment. Not everything you see or hear is true. It's about awakening and questioning illusions, narratives, and conditioning, which I find fun that we're going to have the talk that we're going to have tonight. And it's also an ego check. We can all be fooled when we are not aware. So, simply put, it's a day that reminds us to wake up and see beyond the illusion, and that perception is not always reality. So, did anybody else know any of that about April Fool's Day?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Nobody.
Mm-mm.
I,
Yeah, I know.
you knew. See, I should have known, but still we knew. I
Mhm.
knew. I love it. Shelly, you about to say
Yeah,
something?
I knew about that. Yeah,
I'm not. Look, Shelly, you're a walking encyclopedia. Even
I
though
kind of am on some days.
Mhm.
okay, I love it. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right. Soldier's Dream, yes. Okay. I kind of heard a little bit of stuff around it, but I would wanted to bring that to the table for those who didn't know. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to jump right into this video that um I want to play that I found to be very powerful. And when I find especially a video like this, I wanted to have play while when I had the queens online. So let me share this video and I want your thoughts. Let me get this share screen together. Okay, here we go.
5 years ago, I wouldn't have known what that meant because at the time, the only spiritual book I had studied was this one. And the only history books I had read were mostly European from my history degree. Now, I've come to realize through reading other books that not only is this connected to the spiritual truth of our species, but it's also consistent with the actual history of the human species, which started in Africa 30,000 years ago. The species doesn't originate from a white man's rib, it originates from a black woman's body. History is spiritual, and I didn't understand this when I was first studying it. My focus during my degree was World War II because I wondered how could this happen to humanity. I was also studying the teachings of Jesus. I didn't know at the time that Yeshua was an Eastern mystic and that connecting East and West would be a huge key moment for our species as well. But every single thing that has happened through the entire course of human history is spiritual. The truth is, this is not just the story of creation, consistent with all other stories of creation, but it also tells a very problematic history where the woman, the physical body, was erased. And why? Because trees without roots topple over. If you want to control humanity, if you want to profit off of the human body, you make sure that humans don't remember their roots, their origin story. When we don't realize that God is not separate from us, but is this creator spark that lives within us, you don't see that the plot has always been to separate us from love, to separate us from the truth of our origins and the truth of our being. We are souls that manifest inside of bodies. You're the consciousness inside the body. And the lineage of those bodies dates back to Africa. That is the truth of our origins. When people get angry when they hear this, it's because they haven't asked enough questions or read the right books. There are many to choose from. It doesn't matter where you start, just start somewhere and open up to curiosity because we all have the power to remember our roots. Tall trees have deep roots. Okay, much love. Closest thing.
All right. Any comments?
That's the tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those references are just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I love that. And even the part where she talked about the woman being omitted, I was just I came across a video that was talking about like how the women like Adam and Eve, how they had children, But it always talked, when you think about it, even though they said they had sons and daughters, they never talked about the daughters. They never gave them a name. And so, and it's just interesting how the patriarchal system has played out to really kind of remove the woman from the power that she has. And I know Miss Penelope and Miss P and Queen Sylvia, they done had conversations on that, the Black Civils and stuff like that, which I see we lost Miss Sylvia, so we'll give her a moment to join. Anybody else wanted to comment on that video?
Like Van Dorn.
Yeah,
go ahead, Van.
Yeah. So what happens is all that was spoken of is an abbreviated version of a much larger picture. The most important thing I want to comment on is the death of the divine feminine by way of the divine masculine, who paraded as patriarchy, but it actually began before the Judeo-Christian church came on the scene. Okay, but once the Judeo-Christian church became a reality, we really had a massacre of the divine feminine, beheading, many ways of talking about it. We can even get gross and say a disemboweling of the divine feminine. Okay, all of that is true, and there are many stories that you can find on the subject. But I want to mention something that I just brought to someone else's attention recently. There's a man who's dead now. His name is Leonard Shlain. I can't, Shlain, first name Leonard. He was a neurosurgeon. And in his research, he discovered that when cultures developed an alphabet, the brains of the people went from one orientation to another. And when I say orientation, and I really don't know how to say this, the cultures became more male dominated as a result of experiencing or having an alphabet that was placed before them. And something about the brain got rewired. So what I'm getting at is that prior to what we could conveniently call recording of history, we had stories that were passed on from one generation to another. And, so we have the story of the griot, going way back in history. And the male-dominated phenomenon in terms of what we call a cultural norm is only a recent development in human history. And so we have all of these matriarchal societies that existed before what I'll call the patriarchy. And that's just an umbrella term. Before we had more male-dominated cultures, we had women who had played a central role in the governance and the spirituality of the collective.
Wow.
Oh yeah, the name of that book is called
This Miss Sylvia, y'all, excuse me, y'all can keep talking.
Yeah, the Alphabet versus the Goddess. That's the name of the book. He wrote several books, but you can find that in cyberspace. Just go and look up the Alphabet versus the Goddess. But once again, there are tons of data that talk about how we lost our way as a species by allowing culture to become male dominated. Okay, so and I'm not worried about anybody taking issue with me on that. I invite him to take a hike, as opposed to trying to confront me, because there's too much truth that has been disclosed. This stranglehold that patriarchy has had on the collective is a death sentence. Okay, in a few words, it really is. It's a brutal murder. And I just want to say one more thing, please. I'm glad that I'm on tonight. I was talking to a friend of mine a Sunday or two ago, and I was driving, and I was talking to her about a piece of writing that I had done. A young lady, 21 years of age, had taken her life last January, and I didn't find out about it until the day of my birthday. I was celebrating my birthday at her mother's restaurant in Durham, and this young lady who had committed suicide, her sister tells us that her sister her life had ended quickly and tragically, but she didn't go into any details. So so I was talking to this friend on the phone, and I said, humankind has been raped of its spirituality. Okay, and I use that word as a poet for emphasis. When I say humankind has been raped of its spirituality, that is a true statement. We could not have the madness that is afoot in the world if we had our spirituality was intact, had not been interrupted, destroyed, decimated. Sister Sylvia, did you hear anything that I said? No. Okay.
This only happens when I'm on this Riverside. I talked 2 hours last night and it didn't happen.
Okay. Well, Tammi, I don't know if we can do anything about that, but we. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, I was just saying that I was talking to someone and I had suggested that humankind has been raped of its spirituality. So I had a dear friend who took issue with me for using the word rape, but I said I'm taking poetic license when I say use the word rape. I'm using that for emphasis because I'm trying to suggest that it is it's not just a tragedy and a travesty, but it is it's a brutal act. It's a violent act, and the word raped of spirituality, raped of our spirituality, is simply a way of saying that process of obliterating much of our spiritual heritage as a species, not just people from the African diaspora, but as a species, is an intentional act, and that is a brutal act. I'll stop there.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Van Dorn. Miss P, you were getting ready to talk a moment ago.
Van Dorn covered it. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, that was some good stuff. And Morgan Myers put she didn't know about the April Fool, so yes, you are more than welcome. And the alphabet versus the goddess. Yes. So Miss Sylvia, I don't know if you saw the video that I played, because I don't know when I lost you. And I'll have to send
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah. Okay. So some kind of way I have to get it to you. It was on Instagram. It was a really good video, but it really kind of went into what you have shared with us before about, women being the original gods and stuff like that, and the birthing and all that stuff. But so let me ask you, Queen, how you want to do this? You gave me your notes. Did you want me to share your notes for you to read them, or were you going to read them? How you want us to proceed? Because we ready.
I can just go ahead and just read the excerpts. And for Manya, I just wanted you to know, we just chime in at any time. I just read some excerpts, and I like to hear whatever you guys have to say about it, if that's okay. All right. But I want to first let you know that I'm trying not to use the word you know what. Instead, I'm using passing for that word that these idiots on social media don't want us to use. So I had to cross out, and evidently I didn't save it, but I'm hoping that I won't say the wrong thing. And our topic is passing is not the end, it's passing through. And I got the part passing through. Van Doren suggested that. And so I'll let him talk about it when we get to that part. But I'm using the book Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. And he has since passed away. His book was translated in 10 different languages. He was a spiritual regressionist. A regressionist is a mental health professional who uses techniques like hypnosis, guided imagery, deep relaxation to help clients revisit past memories, childhood events, or alleged past lives to resolve current emotional or psychological traumas. And I found him to be one of the most easiest to understand when you wanted to know about past lives or those kinds of things. So he was a pioneer in this, and he was honored for clinical souls memory research and discovery into the cosmology of the afterlife. So I want to start off with a question for everybody in the chat on the panel. Are you afraid of passing? And if so, why?
Well, I'm going ahead and jump in because I love Dr. Newton. As a matter of fact, I think I was the one who told you about him. I'm not, but thanks to him, I really am not. Even though I think I already did not have that fear prior to that. But when I came across that book and really understood, yeah, no, I don't have any fear of it. So I'll let somebody else go.
I used to have fear of it. I have a little left in me and I think it's the fear of the unknown that I had. But I used to be thinking crazy, like, oh, I'm gonna be suffocated. My feet gonna be hot. Like just different little things used to go through my mind. But the older I've gotten, it's like, well, it's gonna happen. So whatever's gonna happen, gonna happen. But I think it's the fear of the unknown for me.
And for me, are you done, doctor?
Yes.
Okay. For me, I don't have a fear of death as such because even when I was much younger, I don't know why I had this feeling, but I'm like, there is no way I could ever die. I just, I thought about that a lot. And I'm like, I couldn't conceptualize ever being dead. And I don't know exactly what, and I'm sorry if I said the word, but it just.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I just couldn't conceptualize never being. And I think I was thinking more about my body than anything. But now, of course, that is not the focus because I know better. We are not our bodies.
Right.
And so what happened over time for me is that I used to spend a lot of time just sitting in my kitchen and looking out the window. And so I'm sitting there one day and it's springtime and everything is coming back to life. The leaves are coming back on the trees, the grass is turning green, flowers are volunteering to come back. And it just hit me. There is no death. And so with that realization and then listening to people who have OBEs and who have had NDEs, it makes me want to be able to do the OBE myself. And I think that I don't have a fear of what's going to happen after. I'm more like Dr. Maya. It's like, I want to know what's going to happen during the process. It's not a fear, but I just wonder what it's going to be like as I'm transitioning.
I'd like to comment on that. There are people who tell that story when we listen to people who talk about their NDEs. A lot of people talk about that phenomenon, but of course they do come back, and many of them are directed to come back because their soul contracts haven't expired yet in terms of that current incarnation that they're in. But there are lots of people who describe what it's like to die and what it was like to be pulled back into the body consciousness and what have you. Yeah. My wife had an NDE, I think in 2018, and she went over to the other side. I was asleep one night, and she actually died. When I say she actually died, she lost 3 hours. She's clear on the fact that she had an NDE because all of the signs were there. She lost 3 hours and some change, and she went over to the other side and she saw her father, and they did not speak. He was actually someplace out, maybe fishing or somewhere close to a building, but she could hear herself she could hear her pedestrian self saying, "You cannot die now. Leanna's birthday is tomorrow. You will not die on the Leanna's birthday eve." So that's what actually drew her back into her body. And when she came to back into her body, it's that typical experience that people have where they feel as though they're being pulled back into their body, and they have this, deep breath that they take as if they had not breathed for a period of time. But anyway, yeah, lots of people do describe leaving the body and of course coming back, because that's the only way you can get a description. So there are lots of stories out there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there are, and I've listened to a lot of them, and there are also people now who do intentional OBEs where they can control going out and coming back into their bodies and going to the other side. I would love to be able to do that, but the thought sometimes frightens me because I don't think at this stage I want to come back.
How do they do that? I've never heard of that.
Okay, so you can look up
Now,
the guy.
now, can I interrupt? Can I interrupt? In this presentation tonight, Dr. Newton we're gonna talk about all of that. And most people have no fear, false evidence appearing real, because if you have the information that you need, thanks be to people who have passed on and came back to tell the story. Then when you hear all these thousands and thousands of folk who have passed over and came back, then that eliminates fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
go ahead.
Just quickly, I'll interject this now so we won't have to cover this later. When some people remember having died in previous incarnations, they carry that memory with them. So I want everybody that's listening to know that there are people who actually have memory of having died in previous incarnations, and they have that memory in this life. I'm one of those people. Okay, in the story. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so Miss Sylvia, let me read this real quick, and then look, I wrote stuff down, y'all, so I won't forget. So, Morgan says it's more so the how I am going to die, like you, Dr. Maya, that be bothersome, but the transition itself will be welcome when it's time. And to Cerulean Blue, it's Michael Newton, and the book is called Journey of Souls. There was another, but his was written in like 1988. And Cerulean also added, I only fear dying without fulfilling life's purpose.
I think, can I say something?
Sure.
Okay. I think for me, it's no fear in death. And the reason why, no fear in transitioning, not using that word. Okay, there's no fear in transitioning. One of the Ndikra symbols by the Ashanti people is the Owohu Kum Nyame. And it basically means transition. Translated is transition. I don't want to say all the words for social media, but you can look it up. But it basically means that ego tries to hold on to this physical body. So it's the ego that wants to hold on, that wants to know what it's going to be like. Like ego wants to know everything, right? Wants to know what it's going to be like. But there's such freedom in understanding that when you transition, it's kind of like there's a script in the biblical text that says, unless a seed dies falling to the ground, it remains only a single seed. So I know that if I transition, the work that I've put in and the people whose lives I've affected will continue to produce and bear fruit. So it's like, for me, it's not a fear, because you know them by the fruit that they bear, right? So the things that they put out, the things that they've done in the world, how we've affected others. A plant can't grow unless the seed dies and falls into the ground and it's planted. So it's not a fear for me, because I actually know it would be a blessing for those around me and those whom I've come in contact with. I think I've always, since a little girl, felt like it was so much more. Like, this body is just a house, right? It's just a house for my spirit, and my spirit is abundant and it can travel. And my first interaction with it was when my grandmother transitioned, and I didn't really understand um uh I didn't really understand transitioning at that time. But as I grew older, and so many things of her that I embodied, that other people in my family had embodied, that really changed our lives, that we didn't see until after she transitioned. And so if our lives are here to be of purpose to others, then our transition will only make that grow. So that's my feeling around transitioning. And, as I just been on this journey of just killing that ego, so to speak, when it's not necessary. I don't need to know the ins and out for me. I don't need to know the ins and the outs of the how and the why. I need to make sure that I've done what I came here to do, so that as I transition, I can be free.
Yes.
I'd like to ask Shelley. Shelley, can if you don't mind, would you mind shedding some light in the conversation on what it's like to transition and come back and that sort of thing?
Sure. What it's like? Well, for me, it was just peace. It was just peaceful, and I can think the word is serene. That's the only way I could describe it. It's so much, you kind of would have to get more specific about what part of it, but it was just peace. I was just chilling, and there's no way to describe it. It was just a wonderful feeling, and there was nothing around. But to add to the question, I wanted to state that I don't fear dying, because I know for a fact that this life we've already lived. Like, this is all a rerun. That's the only reason why you have deja vu, or you can see the future, because it's already happened. And when we transitioned, we already, I don't know, I wish I could find the right words. I read this so long ago, I'm trying to remember. But we've already been here. We've already done this. And in regards to how we die, it's scientific fact that our body, when it experiences too much pain, it shuts the nervous system off, so you won't experience anything tragic or painful.
And the thing I love about the universe, in reading all of the clinical experiences that Dr. Newton had with his thousands of patients, it showed the compassion of the God of the universe. I'm using God because that's a common term that everybody understands. I prefer source, but source is so compassionate and kind that we never experience any kind of tragedy. And from his clients, they say, even if they're in a serious accident and there's going to be a great deal of pain, they get out of it before the pain hits. And that's what I like about the compassion, and it helps to alleviate that fear.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna just
it definitely does take you out of any type of pain factor or any trauma associated to what you're going through at the moment before you transition, I guess the word would be, or experience that. So I guess biblically, like he says, you rejoice in death, because he knows that you're going somewhere else, and somewhere that's already happened. The world is full, the universe is so many dimensions that you live in. Like I say, we're so far behind. This is all a rerun. So you've already done this. If you passed early, you've already fulfilled what he intended for you to fulfill. That's why it was okay to go on to the next stage, or destiny, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and you know what, to your point, Shirley, like when I had my NDE, like I didn't feel any pain until I came back to my body. So like as I was all the pain that was there, I didn't feel. I'm floating, I'm seeing my body on the bed, and it was just so peaceful. And soon as my consciousness came back to my body, every bit of pain I was feeling before I left resurfaced. So I absolutely know exactly what you're talking about in the peace space. But so I want to say this, Abuela, before you take off again. I heard like the talk about death, about how people are gonna live, and we don't have to get into this part now, but I've heard no, from people that's had near death NDEs, we choose our exit, but we won't get into that tonight because I don't want to start a whole nother talk, but we actually choose. So we don't know consciously how we're going to exit, but it was kind of part of our pre-life selection process. But I'm gonna give the mic back to you, Miss Sylvia, because that could go really deep.
And before you go, Miss Sylvia, I was going to say, even how she mentioned ego, the only part of it that it wasn't even painful. It was the ego wishing you could want to, like for me, I took a tour of all my past life and all that. The only part that it wasn't even bad was the ego saying, wishing I did this or wishing I did that, or wanting to change something I seen. I was like, dang, I need to go fix that or something like that, which was, like they said, only the ego trying to keep you there to do more.
Yeah. Go live with no regrets. All right, Miss Sylvia.
And this is not me. I reiterate, I'm just doing excerpts from Dr. Newton. And he says, a power within us enables humans to conceive of a hereafter and to sense a connection to a higher power and an eternal soul. Where does the soul go after passing? Societal fears about passing limits conversation about it. And most of this is me now, most of the societal fears come from religions. You don't hear any of these kinds of conversations in most of your Sunday sermons. So it keeps society in fear, and that's by design, because the archons that control the so-called 8 billion, they know all of this we're talking about, and they know that if we create organizations that will keep people in fear, then we can control the masses. So the whole thing is a control mechanism.
And another prime example of that and how well they're doing it is that, like we spoke about before, how they cut us off from life. Like everything now is square. There's nothing like that. Was showing us how you naturally in geometry, majority of everything is round. They built everything square. If you think about it, when life was full and blissful, everything was colorful, which was the sign of everything. But now everything in your home is gray or black. Like there's no color. There's cars used to be green, red, yellow, blue. Now cars are just 2 or 3 different colors. They purposely dim us down and take us out of our natural ability by shaping everything around us like that. Because if they didn't, we'd be able to astral project. Go ahead. No, please go.
No, if they didn't, what were you going to say?
I was going to say things like astral projecting and stuff we'd be able to do, which is another sign that all this is already done, that we're somewhere else. That's why you can see into the future or experience deja vu into the past. They make sure we're not able to do none of that.
And they'll tell you it's witchcraft or devil's work if you even entertained any of it. But I want to acknowledge Morgan. Morgan Monnier wanted to thank you for that insight about the ego holding on to the body. Because, we do know that the ego does tend to hold on. And no pain, you say, okay, now I really don't have hangups about transitioning now. Cute. All right, Miss Sylvia, carry on.
And the more you get the book Journey of the Soul. Get the book Wisdom of Soul by Dr. Newton. The more you read and listen to his clients, oh, you don't mind leaving here?
No, you don't.
You won't mind at all.
No.
Okay.
And another thing
You
about
won't
pain,
mind at all.
if you think about anything that's tragically happened to you that you thought would hurt, it never really hurts till afterwards. It's the healing that hurts. But when people who cut themselves or something, it's more shock. You could be seriously messed up and majority of people just hold it or looking around like, what's going on? Because you don't experience major pain in life until afterwards, till the ego brings you back and now you trapped in this dimension again.
Monia, you was getting ready to say something?
No, I was getting ready to say, so that indicator symbol that I was talking about, one of our customers had commissioned us to make this piece. His mother was transitioning from cancer, and she was really upset because she loved her family. I mean, she loved her children. Her grandchildren were still young, and she was really just like holding on for the family because she was the rock of the family. And we made that particular symbol for her, and we put specific crystals in it so that she could stare at it. So it hung just above her bed, and as she got closer and closer, they started to move it closer and closer to her, and she began to relax, calm, just release and let go. And in my practice, as I work with people who are transitioning, I recommend a few stones. And we know that we are the greatest crystal, right? So there's no crystal on this earth that's greater than us, but they can help to amplify and enhance our intentions, right? And so some of the crystals that I recommend to folks who may be transitioning, or they want to give it to their family members to help ease some of that fear. One is going to be smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is super grounding. It helps to ground the environment and ground the person, so that they're not so emotional about what they may be experiencing in transition. Also, labradorite. Labradorite is one of those stones to help you sort of bridge the spiritual world with your physical world. So if a person is having a NDE, or they're starting to have sights or visions about what's happening or where they're going, labradorite helps to bridge those two between what's happening now, so that a person can really make a decision. Do I want to go there, or do I want to stay here? Malachite is another stone that we put in that particular piece, and that just unpacks some of the subconscious fear around transitioning. And then lastly, we use black obsidian to help cut some of that ego, because the ego says, I have to stay here for my family. They're not going to be okay unless I'm here, right? And we know that it's source, as Mama Mayat spoke about just a minute, that sustains us all. It's not really us. It's source moving through us. We are just this body is just the house of source, and we are extensions of source's power. And so that's kind of how I look at it, and I talk to and work with our clients on. So I just wanted to share that if anybody's into like stones or anything like that.
Oh yeah, I wanted
Now, at this point, if you don't mind, Tammi, if you don't mind, at this point, can she talk about copper vibration and this, where you can get those stones and all of that?
Absolutely, please.
So we can support her business.
Yes.
Yeah, so Copper Vibrations, we've been in business for about 10 years. And the unique thing about us, our company, I think from some of the other companies, is not about, it's about channeling, right? It's channeling from source to create something that is meaningful, something that actually could be a tool and an extension of your power to help. So we always teach first, though, that you are the greatest crystal, right? There's nothing on this earth that's greater than you. The intention starts with you, and then these crystals help to amplify and enhance the intentions that we're already putting out there. I'm sorry, we got the door open. The floor was wet.
No, you fine. Go ahead. You good.
But yeah, so we teach that, and we have thousands of crystals here in the shop. We're located in Greensboro, North Carolina, at 709 East Market Street, Suite 104. We do several programs here. We do Tuesday tea. I happen to be in love with tea ceremony, Asian tea ceremony. So we actually do a comedic version of that here at the shop, and it's free. And then we also on Sundays do what we call Crystal Fellowship or Living Stones Fellowship, because we are the Living Stones. And we kind of talk about some of our strengths, our challenges. Why are we here? What are we here to do? And make sure that we're in alignment to fulfilling that purpose, so we don't fear transitioning, right? When we know where we're strong at, and we know where we have challenges at, and we have a clear focus about where we're going, then transitioning, doesn't have so much fear here. So that's kind of what we do here. We're kind of straightforward, like she said in the introduction earlier, no fluff. We just sort of turn people back to themselves and understanding that we are the greatest power source. And this is a little slightly bit off a topic, but as we were talking about the Libra moon earlier today, I thought it was interesting that the elder spoke about the patriarch and the death of the divine feminine. And Libra calls us to look at it at a balanced way, right? At a balanced way. There was a time where I think that we were losing ourselves and losing what we are, but we have the power to come back, right? So balance. The duality of source is both masculine and feminine, so you can't really destroy it. In order to destroy it, you would have to be able to destroy source. And so I don't think we ever went anywhere. I don't think anyone ever destroyed us per se, or destroy what we had to offer. It just took us to remember ourselves. And now I believe it's so beautiful that we are remembering ourselves, that we are powerful, we're returning back to who we are, and we're providing that balance under this Libra moon. So it's not lopsided, it's definitely balanced.
And if you want to see the crystals and things like that, you can Google copper vibrations.
Coppervibrations.com. Coppervibrations.com. You can see some of our work there. You can either chat with us if you're looking for something specific. We really love making items that are specific, that kind of speak to your spiritual journey. So we make symbols, we make these like beautiful staffs that people walk and ground with. So my husband does a lot of these pieces. He's the one that channels a lot of these pieces when you're working with people. I sort of add the crystal education and the education around the piece, but my husband is the one who goes in, a great Aquarius, goes in and channels that from source. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And that kind of information is in the great and wonderful Greensboro, North Carolina, and also Brother Van Doren Hennett, who is an expert in sacred geometry and all of those things. He has beautiful, beautiful works that I'm going to bring and show you, Manye, so we can get some of his works, some of his art and all of that. Yes. It's a beautiful, beautiful location she has too. Yes. Van.
Thank you for mentioning
Go ahead,
that.
Van.
Monier, years ago, and I'm talking about 20, 25 years ago, I was writing about my work, and I was suggesting to people in what I was writing about my work that these compositions would easily be seen as a representation of the energetic signatures of gemstones and crystals. And since then, I'm not so sure how many years ago, I actually designed some, Sister Sylvia has one, and I think Penelope has one also. I don't have any in this room with me, but these pendants that I designed actually have, they're related to the. Yes, thank you. But can you put it closer to the camera? Yeah, that's called seven gates to seven gates to freedom, and it's actually seven portals that go to the center. So when we talk about the seven, well, some of us talk about the seven directions, with the last one being inward. So north, south, east, west, up, above, as it said, and below, then within. So those are the seven directions, and this particular geometry is related to those seven portals in our head. You have two antennae going out this way, invisible to the eyes, two going out this way, one going up and one going down. And in the pituitary pineal gland, the seat of the soul, is the center. It would be the center of this particular orb. So it's really powerful. And some people have interesting and curious experiences by seeing them or having one. And so anyway, my artwork is very much related to gemstones. I just wanted to add that.
Yes, I would love to see it. Can't wait to meet you in person and see some of your work, your artwork, and some of what you've designed. And sacred geometry. We need a lesson.
We had one on the show a couple of months back.
I used to teach.
Did a good one.
This is just I don't know if you can see the print.
Hold on. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my camera.
Wow. Wow. I feel that right here. That's amazing. I can literally feel it.
Oh, yeah. I was visiting her house when I came over and to show her and her husband some art some years ago. And oh yeah, there's another one. That's really special. So anyway, that's a cool one right there. So anyway, I work intuitively. People ask, how did you do that? I said, well, I am responsible for having made it, but I don't like to use the word channeling, but that's one way of talking about it. That's a word that I shy away from, because we're all channeling, something, right? We're all channeling consciousness. It can be elevating or degrading, but we're all channeling consciousness, because that's what we are. We're consciousness in motion. So, but anyway, thank you. I just wanted to share that. Okay.
And I would just like to show you a piece that I got from Monier's shop, because something about this piece has really shifted me. The piece that I thought I had gotten, I didn't, and that was my birthstone. That's the one I'm coming back for. But this is, let's see here, I'll do like Sylvia. Her husband made the top of this while I waited. I swear it took him no more than 5 minutes, and it's gorgeous. And so this is hematite. And since I've been wearing this piece, I will tell you, I don't know why I had it associated with my birthday, but from the time I got it, I started having people show up in my birth month almost every day. Some people with the same birth date that I have. But something really, really amazing happened to me. I don't know. I think it was either yesterday or today. My office mate started to have a conversation with me. And I just felt the energy. So I'm like, I don't want to have this conversation because I know where it's going. And so I was able to very gently shut it down. Because I'm like, I just didn't want that energy in my space, because I've been there before. And I could just see it, I could see it in her and I could feel it. And I'm like, I'm not going there. So I don't know, this piece has just, and most days I wear it and Van Dorn's together. So this one is a little long and his hangs inside of this one. But yes, it's been amazing.
Good stuff. All right, Miss Sylvia.
Okay. Okay. I'll continue with some of the excerpts from Dr. Newton's book. Most false orientations about passing comes from religion. Passing is not the end. It is the continuation of soul's journey, which is full of lessons and deeper understandings. So any comments, feel free. But religions were designed for control, because if you keep people in fear, I might go to hell or whatever. If you keep them in fear, they're easily controlled. So that was the major purpose of the Council of Nicaea, 3025 AD, where Constantine created the religion of Christianity based on the ancient scripts from ancient Egypt, scripts that were written maybe 30,000 to 60,000 years ago. So it's a lot, whatever. The reason I know this, I was involved in religion for 25 or 29 years. And I always wanted to know, what am I in? So I began to research the history of the organization I was in. I was in a Christian non-denominational church for 29 years. So I looked at all of the history of the church and all of that sort of thing. And then when I came across the Council of Nicaea, it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of things. So that would be something for you to Google up, the Council of Nicaea. Question. What are the similarities of afterlife recollection and out-of-body experience as a result of temporary physical trauma reported by many people? I'll repeat that. What are some of the similarities of the afterlife recollection and out-of-body experiences as a result of temporary physical trauma reported by many people? Because some of you have had the afterlife experience and the temporary, but we don't have to answer if you don't want to. But here's some of the answers that came from Dr. Newton's clients. They said after having this afterlife recollection and these out-of-body experiences, he said both are floating above their bodies. Both are trying to touch physical objects, which dematerialize in front of them. And they're telling you what happens to them when they go into these experiences. And they said that both of these experiences are frustrated in attempts to talk to living people who don't respond. In other words, they might be at their funeral and they want you to know, I'm okay, it's wonderful, please stop the crying. And it's like they say it's very frustrating because they can't get through. Both feel a pulling sensation away from the place where they passed away. Both are frustrated in attempts to talk to living people who don't respond. Either feel or experience relaxation and curiosity rather than fear. There's no fear involved with these experiences. Comment, because we know there's no such thing as passing. See, they know that. Both report brightness and euphoria surrounding them. Some use a bright light. Some see, a bright light at death. Some see the brightness in a dark area farther away through which they are being pulled. Dr. Newton found no difference in these passing experiences, whether modern or ancient times. And he's talking about modern or ancient times, because some of these people who have had past lives can go all the way back to ancient times, and all of them say the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Any comments or
I think
chime
the
in?
difference between afterlife and out of body experience is just how far you go. I think out of body experience is kind of like the beginning of the tunnel. You still within reach of yourself. And afterlife is when you travel through this tunnel that is painless, fearless, you're floating, blah, blah, blah. And so I think that's just the only difference is how far you've gone.
I heard Shelley, this guy who teaches people how to actually experience OBE, say that an NDE and an OBE is the same.
Yeah, I agree. You just
Yeah.
one you go a little further where ain't no returning. The other one you get to return.
I think you return on both of them, right?
Yeah, you return on both of them.
Yeah, you return on both of them.
I mean, you can return, but it's just how far you go. Especially if you, like I say, you see lights far away. We're light beings. That's our soul. So it's just waiting on you to get there. Mm-hmm. But I think a small example of that is like dreaming. When you dream, your soul goes to whatever dimension your dream is in.
And Shelley,
what you think about this?
That was one of the notes that I had. Like every time we go to sleep, our consciousness leaves our body every night. Every single night we go to sleep. Okay, go ahead, Miss Sylvia.
I was gonna ask Dr. Meyer, what you think about this?
Yeah, so I've had an out-of-body experience. I think I was 20. I was at my dad's house, and I was laying in the bed. I was conscious, I felt like. And then when I tried to get up, it was like my body would not move. And eventually I was on top of my body, looking at my body. And I remember my dad coming in the room saying something, but he couldn't hear me talking back. And what felt to me, it felt like it was hours. And I was just calling his name, trying to get him to come in there and shake my body so I can get up. But eventually when I got up, it was like, and I ran out my room and went in there and I was telling him about what happened. But it was the weirdest thing. It was just like I was just floating on top of my body, looking at my body laying there and couldn't move.
Now they have a term for that. I can't remember it now.
You know what?
When you get in, let me finish.
I was telling you.
Okay. What is the name, Miss Penelope?
Sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't pay us any attention. This is my sister,
That's
so
right,
we'll be.
I can tell y'all best friends.
What is it again? Sleep paralysis.
Yes.
Now, before I knew what it was, I was fighting. I can't breathe. I can't move. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But now that I know what it is, there'll be no fear.
Mm-hmm. And you know
but when it happened,
you didn't know what was it. It was the witch riding your back or something like that. They had a like a fable. Huh?
I said I never heard of the witch riding your back.
They would say it's the witch riding your back or your chest too.
That's especially.
Go ahead. You muted. Monye.
You muted.
Oh, it seems like it's not muted on my side.
Okay.
Can you hear me
now?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, especially in the South, that's like a Southern thing. Like if you experience sleep paralysis, they would call them haints. They were like haints got on your chest. It would sit on your chest, and so that's where the blue people putting the blue glass bottles, hanging them from the tree, would catch the haint. So yeah, that's like a Southern thing. And in the crystal world or the metaphysical world, we would call it astral traveling or astral projection. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The first time I remember sleep paralysis, I didn't know what it was. I was a freshman at Central. That's almost 60 years ago. And I was having this dream that we had communal bathrooms then. And I dreamed I walked into the bathroom and I found one of my dorm mates in the shower dead, and I was screaming, but nothing was coming out. And what happened to make me know that now that it was sleep paralysis, one of my roommates came in and she saw me and she was hollering, and what's wrong? Because I'm just like, trying to scream and get some help. I don't know what that was all about, but I've had that happen to me several times, but I never felt like I was out of my body, just frozen.
Yeah, like
I
somebody
felt
holding you
frozen
down.
and
Because
out of
I
my.
know when I've had it, like I felt like my back was hurting because I was trying to fight to get up. So, and it was
Yep.
just like this heavy weight.
Yep.
Was like something holding you down. Something is
Yep.
literally, and you trying to
Yes.
scream and you
And you
can't.
could not move. You can't. And the
Right.
more
Couldn't
you
move,
try to
couldn't
feel like you're trying
scream.
to get up, you can't.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be kind of scary.
Yeah, that was a big thing in Southern tradition, especially in South Carolina, Louisiana. They would call them haints, and they would say that the haints was trying to possess you. So they would sit on your chest so that you couldn't move. So a lot of the houses were painted blue. Blue was the color to deflect them because these haints don't like blue. So people will often paint their rooms blue. They would get these blue glass bottles, like the Saratoga water would come in, and they would hang them from trees, and that would catch the haints, and people would say they don't experience sleep paralysis anymore.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Oh wow. Some Miss Mia Ed put in the chat, or gin on your chest. Now I had not heard that term before.
Mm-mm.
I had not heard. Oh
I,
wow. I love this. You learning stuff. I love this. All right, Miss Sylvia.
I was gonna I was gonna ask Brother Van Doren, is there anything in particular spiritual about the color blue that you know of?
Yes. We have a lot of blue reference in different cultures and different spiritual traditions. Um, there's some of you all have heard of the word Eckankar. There was a man named Paul Twitchell who brought the teachings of Eckankar out into the open. Some people say that he was not telling the truth, and some people believe him. But he wrote a lot of books. But the blue star of Ek, that's a term. The blue star of Ek represents this uh, consciousness called the Mahanta consciousness, and people who are and they don't have to be affiliated with Eckankar. I want to tell you that right out the gate. A lot of people see this blue star when they close their eyes and they go into meditation or contemplation. And in Eckankar, it's called the blue star of Ek. But outside of Eckankar, there are people that have that experience because you don't have to be involved with Eckankar to have a direct contact with this quality of consciousness that is called the Mahanta. So that's just one spiritual tradition where the color blue is referenced as this blue star of, and it's the Mahanta consciousness that visits souls, because this individual called the Mahanta, their assignment is to help souls transition from the worlds of duality. And notice I put that. I didn't say transition from this life to the next life, but the transition from the worlds of duality into a place that some people call it the ocean of love and mercy. But yes, there are many spiritual traditions that make reference to the blue light, blue orbs. There are lots of people who are, I think Corey Goode might have, Corey Goode is one of the first people who was interviewed by David Wilcock on something called Cosmic Disclosure 15 or more years ago. And Corey Goode had experiences with these blue avians, he called them, the blue avians, which are these humanoids that are look like blue human birds or human-like birds. They're called the blue avians. And then there were these blue orbs that would visit him and take him on journeys and what have you. But those are the only things that I can think of off the top of my head that are related to my more recent studies I'm talking about within the last 15 to 30 years. But the other traditions, I don't want to speak on them because I can't say that I can repeat verbatim what I was told 30, 40, 50 years ago. Okay.
Blue represents the throat chakra. Lighter blue represents the throat chakra, the throat, or the Aritu in Kemetic. It would be called the Aritu. In the Sanskrit, it would be called the chakra. You know, the throat chakra. So your ability to speak. So even in that paralysis, not having the ability to speak, trying to speak. If someone came to me experiencing that sleep paralysis, I would be saying there's something that they're not communicating that they really need to communicate, and there's a blockage there. Also, that color indigo blue represents the third eye chakra. So if a person was coming to me saying that they were just couldn't think their way through, or they were having migraines, or they were experiencing that sleep paralysis, okay, so what is trying to be shown to you that is being blocked in that way? So I just look at the colors from that perspective, and then you look at all of the ancient in ancient Kemet, they wore a lot of blue. On the if you see the hieroglyphs and the different pictures, there were blue on their head. A lot of times some of their faces was blue and green. It just represented a higher order of things. This person was more connected to source. They had vision, they had sight, they were able to, they had foresight, they had psychic gifts, if you will, type of energy. And then lapis lazuli was as a crystal, because I'm always going to bring it back to the crystals because I'm a crystal girly. But lapis lazuli represents going deeper into esoteric knowledge, and it's a very blue crystal. That blue represents I'm using my mind, I'm using my consciousness to go deeper. And when we are unable to move, or we're paralyzed, we're not using our consciousness to see what's coming ahead, or what's being brought to us, or we're not speaking up about something that we need to speak up about.
Oh wow.
So I need to pull my lapis lazuli piece back out and start wearing it again.
I was going to say the color blue is the original, like dream catchers from the Indians were always have blue feathers, which was there to calm you and keep you. And my grandmother and in my neighborhood, we always had like the candle store. There's always a witch doctor in there, but the blue Saratoga bottles and all that was always the main thing. And so in fact, like if I'm having nightmares, or if I have a nightmare, the first thing I sleep with is, and it goes away, and I won't have them no more.
Can I see that again?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I can't find them anywhere anymore.
Everything is designed to help us, they take away.
I just learned the Saratoga water like this year because my son, he's a health nut. So wow. And I want to acknowledge A Soldier's Dream put she hadn't heard the term a Hank in a while. Girl, I've never heard the term Hank until tonight. So that's a new one to me. Wow.
Did you see Monier is showing us? I didn't know the dream catchers, that the dream catchers in the store, your dream catchers, they kept catching my eye. And I see that blue. I'm getting me one. I got to figure out where to put all this stuff. I said, I can't put it in the car. I might have a wreck. Hanging it in the windscreen. But this is, that's a lapis lazuli. Oh, wow. Yeah. And her husband did this for me 10 years ago. And I was going to say, Monier, your husband is always welcome when we come back again, because he's a great teacher too.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. He was over there sitting in the corner like, no, nobody want to talk to me.
Tell him to come on and say hello.
He done went to the back now. He's writing a science fiction story that's including metaphysics. So he's in the back writing now. But in the beginning, he was like trying to look in the camera.
Well,
and your husband's name?
More than welcome.
His name is Juma Copper King Campbell.
Juma.
Yes.
Love
Yeah,
it.
he's very interesting. He's very interesting. And wherever
A
you
lot of
see
people
him,
will
he's
wash with
creating.
this. A lot of people will wash with this after sleep paralysis because this would also be said to take the haints off. So this is called blue anil soap. They would use this for laundry back in the day to get the whites really white. It helps get your whites really white.
Yeah.
But people would also use this down south hoodoo tradition. They would use this to get the haints or bad spirits or bad energy off of them. So yeah, that blue, that color blue is protective, it's powerful, it's cleansing, it's foresight, it's vision, so many things.
And it's the prettiest color on the wheel. That's my favorite color.
Hey, blue's the best color.
Yes,
But,
it is.
I was gonna say that they always got to tell us. I think one of the things in life with people, if you believe in that, is government or them always got to tell us the truth about what's going on, and they put it in movies. So if you watch the movie Avatar, it was about the blue people originally, and that was their theme, dreaming, and that's why they were able to go to sleep and wake up in another consciousness on their planet. And that was the purpose of that whole story. It's the real, true life story of the blue people and dreams and thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped watching Avatar because I started realizing the colonization that was taking place. And I was like, they are being mean and taking people's land and want to control. And I was triggered because I was thinking of real world. So I was like, yeah, I can't watch no more of this. They pissing me off. All right, Miss Sylvia, I know you got more on that paper. I want you to get through as much as you can.
But I want to know, what's your time? I don't want to, look like it's almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
What's,
go ahead. You know, go ahead.
The last, I would say the last thing I wanted, it's a lot of stuff now. The last thing I remembered when, let me see, Dr. Newton talked about, he said one client came to him because of a constant pain in her throat. In a trance state, she revealed that she had been unalived by an arrow in the throat. And that's another thing in the past life regression. If you have those sessions and say you go to them, and say, I got this pain, I can't get rid of it. The doctor said he doesn't know where it came from. But when she went to have this past regression done, in a past life, she found out that she had a throat by an arrow. That's why she had that.
Can I add to that one? Because my favorite story, every time I tell somebody about this book, there was a lady who had a pain in her leg. And he took her back to a life in like the 1800s when she was a little girl. Because our life is tied to, this life is tied to another life. So usually we're here to clean up something else. But he took her back to a life in the 1800s when she was a little girl, fell out of a horse and carriage, and the wheel ran over her leg, and she was paralyzed in that life. And so what they do, what the work really kind of consists of is quantum healing. So once, he take her to that life and make the connection and do whatever cleansing energy healing that has to take place, then that kind of helps heal that problem in this life. Miss Sylvia? That's one
And
of my
he was
favorite
saying,
books.
when you, like,
Go ahead.
so Journey of Souls, y'all go get it. It's on Amazon. But look, you could probably get it for little or nothing now. But Dr. Newton said the solution to all those kind of pains that the doctor can't tell you where they came from, he said release therapy and deprogramming is usually required. Could this be why we have pain for no unknown reason? Yeah, this is the reason. That was like one of the questions. Clients often leave their body before passing when in great pain. Oh, that's the other thing. I was saying how passionate sources that they leave. Yeah, That's it. That's what I was looking for. I couldn't find it. Yep, that's the book.
Yeah.
But
Powerful.
the compassion and kindness of source that we leave before that pain really hits you in serious accidents or you get shot or something like that, we don't go through that. According to these, clients, we don't go through any of that kind of pain. And the comment I made was the universe is very kind and compassionate. Okay.
And I like those
That is
blue
good.
letters on your shirt, Mama Mai. They've been popping out at me the whole entire time. The blue letters on your shirt, the queen. Yes.
And do you see those eyes? You see the eyes?
Yes, I see the eyes.
I was at my daughter's business. Her business is no longer a business now that she closed. But I was in her shop and I kept watching this guy. He was moving all around. And finally he came up to me and he said, "Here, you're a queen." And he gave me this shirt.
Oh, wow. Yes.
I never met him before. He was an artist.
It's very protective. Those two IRA sitting up there. Very protective.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was very unique the way he did it.
Yeah. He put the double IRA right there and the yellow representing the sun. I mean, it's powerful. It's what he pulled together. Just the symbolism of the colors of it. Very powerful. Very powerful shirt. I really like it.
Thank you. I gotta find out where he is.
Okay, so Miss Sylvia, let me ask you, is there some more on that sheet you're gonna talk about, or we're gonna do a part 2? Because I do have a question, which I know we already know the answer to, but I do have a question.
Yeah, it's a whole lot, but go ahead. That's what I said. Whenever you want to end, we end.
Going to the point about we don't pass on, we pass through. So how do we help people to understand at the core of who we are, we're energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. So how do we get people to understand that, especially when you go back to the programming of religion and the things that they've instilled with the heaven and hell and this, that, and the other? Yeah, the body is going to be destroyed. That's going to go back to the earth, but at the source of who we are, we're consciousness. It's not going to be destroyed.
Let Van answer that because he came up with that part.
Go ahead, Mr. Van Doren.
Hold on. Am I muted? Let me see if I'm muted.
You're not. I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So what happens is each one of us, if we have a strong enough desire, we can wake up in this dream and we can remember who and what we are. There are many ways of talking about it. We can call ourselves consciousness. We can actually call ourselves source. There's a term that I like to use, which is first cause. If we will stop believing the great lie, which is something happens to us, that's the great lie. Something happens to us. We are the directors of the dream. We wrote the script. This is soul. I'm talking about soul now. And so that quote that's in the Judeo-Christian Bible, "Be still and know that I am God." I want to speak on that real quick because the word "know" in that context means to become one with. So, and I'm not here trying to promote the notion that there's a God someplace that says, "Be still and become one with me." I'm not trying to promote that idea. I'm simply saying that if we get still and quiet the mind, quiet the emotions, we gain access to a quality of consciousness that's called soul. Okay, we remember who and what we are, and the more time we spend in the silence and in the stillness, the more is revealed to us, or the more is we become aware of, and that's, for me, that's the answer. So in other words, disconnect, unplug from the Matrix movie. And when I say the Matrix movie, I'm talking about the great hoax, which is all of this all of this storytelling that's going on in the dream, social media, one story after another. We don't need those stories. We need some downtime in the stillness and the silence, so we can remember who and what we are. When we remember that we're soul, that's when fear is erased. We don't have to be anxious about, oh, I'm getting ready to transition. I think it would be right to say a person loses their concerns about transitioning the more that they go into that stillness and silence, because that stillness and silence is an aspect of eternity. So many people know about be here now, that quote, be here now. That simply means get the mind still, get the emotions still, and what you have left is here and now. And that's who we are. We are here and now. I don't know if I can say any more than that. Okay.
I think we need to be honest, and I know people are scared. I don't even use the word scared. We need to be honest and say it for what it is. Like you said, be still and become one with me. He also said, he who is inside you is greater than me. He also said, once you know yourself, you will perform more miracles and stuff than I. So we have to be real with ourselves and let each other know that we are God. We're not God, but we are God. And we need to refer to each other like that. So, we will become who we are.
I really agree with that. I really agree. Okay, so one more question based around the topic. So, do you think, like, based on if people could really grasp what we just said tonight about death, do you think it could change the mindset that people have around grief?
Did you say grief?
Yes. Yeah. Because like people really struggle.
Yes, that's the question. That's the question.
Huh?
That's the question.
Yes.
I was saying her question is, with information we got tonight, would that change the mindset of people concerning grief? You want to answer that question, Van?
Well, I'll speak to it. Everybody here has an answer to that question. So anybody can speak to that question. But the short of it is, when you remember who and what you are, you have a handle on life. And, if you grieve consciously. Okay? Yeah. It's one thing to grieve and be asleep, unaware of how it is and why it is one is grieving. It's another thing to be able to be honest with oneself. And in other words, to at the pedestrian level of awareness, say, okay, I'm grieving, and here is how I'm grieving, and here's why I'm grieving. That's a choice. Okay, a lot of people think that grief happens to them. That's a lie. Grief doesn't happen to anybody. That word that we've been avoiding all night long, the word that starts with D, and the next letter is E, the next letter is A. That word is associated with people who choose to remain asleep in the dream. But when you wake up in the dream, you realize that you transition from one quality of being to another. It's like walking from one room to another. And so, please, somebody else, take it up from there, please.
Well, let me add. So even, I'll go ahead, Ms. P, because you've been quiet tonight. So I'll go ahead.
All I wanted to say is this, just piggybacking with a personal experience on what Van Dorn just said. When my mother passed away in 1979, it took me 10 years to get through the grief. It wasn't an everyday grief. I knew exactly when it was going to come, but it still was not conscious. When my father passed away in 2008, it was a totally different scenario. I was very conscious about the grief. I examined the why of the grief. And it wasn't so much that my father had made his transition, but that I missed the part that I played in his life that I could no longer play. Those things I did for him or with him. It left this little void. But in almost exactly a year, I started to say something in a group about my father, and I heard, you no longer have to say that. And it was over. It was over in a year.
Wow, that's powerful. Because so one of the things that book talks about is like when we return to the other side, like we have like soul groups, soul families. So and all of us come here to play a role. Like for instance, like right now I have a son, and another life he could have been the parent, and I could have been the child. Like that book goes deep into all of that. That's why I highly recommend, and when you really recommend it, because when you really hear it, and then it's not even just Michael Newton who did this research. There was another lady who used to do seminars on it. Her name was Dolores Cannon, and she was a hypnotherapist as well, who did a lot of past life regressions. And one of the things that she always come back and talk about are soul contracts. And she even says like sometimes if there's people in your life that you having a hard time with and y'all can't seem to get it together, she said it's time to rip up that soul contract in love. You like, hey, you say like, we did this, we tried, it didn't work, and so I release you in love. And that's it. But she said when she asks the guides and the spirits and stuff, they like, we can have anything we want as long as we not trying to harm another person. And Miss P, a soldier's dream, says she can totally relate to what you said. Miss Sylvia, I saw you react. Oh, one of you guys want to chime in?
I just wanted to say one other thing, because what happened to Van Dorn? Oh, okay. I just wanted to say this before we go. Just like Shelley, we need to tell the truth. A lot of grief is caused by mass consciousness, the way most people think.
Yep.
One of the things that most people think is this: the worst thing that could happen to you is that your child predeceased you. That's the mass consciousness way of thinking. Who decided that? Who decided that? That your child's demise is the worst thing that could happen to you. And most people experience that. They never get over it because they believe that.
And I think that is just, once again, ego. I think ego's only purpose is to satisfy itself. So like you, Miss Jackson, when my mother passed, everybody's like, why are you not crying? You don't care, you don't this, that, and the third. And I have to remember, it's not about me. So what am I grieving for? The focus is on her and her transition, which I truly believe is a better place. Because I truly believe, like the book says, it's hell on earth. So she's finally broke free from here. So grief is a personal choice that you choose because you make it about you and how you feel and what you're going to miss and what all you did with them and this and that. So when you take the ego out and you examine the why is about the person who's transitioning to someplace better.
Exactly. That's good. Well said, everyone. I see we lost Miss Sylvia again. I hope it doesn't give her the appearance again that she's back on with us. Oh, there she is. Yeah. There she is. This I knew this was gonna be a good talk. And talks like this are hard for people to process because what you said, Miss P, the mass consciousness in a sense haven't been taught, and I'm going to use the word program because that's really what it is. They haven't been programmed to this information. They've been programmed to fear those things, fear death, and the grief cycle, like you said, conscious versus unconscious grieving. It's so much, and we can go on and on with this conversation. So we definitely gotta have some more on this another time, because this was really, really good. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in. I see Monier had to go, but I definitely want to have her back on, and I want to try to meet her when I come up there for the day that I come up there. Mr. Van Dorn, I'm going to be up there for one day, and I want to see you if possible. I'll call you to let you know what that date is, because I also want to see the sacred geometry and see if I can get a piece. But I want to go ahead and bring this in. This was like really, really good stuff. So I'm gonna start by going Shelly. Shelly, any final words on tonight's talk, and of course let the people know how they can get in contact with you.
I think the final words is, like I say every week, learn yourself, and then everything that makes sense to you. Knowledge is everything. And sit still and ground and give yourself time to get the knowledge. That's kind of it. And one day I want to talk on the female, how she was taking away her power, because where it all starts from, etc. But yeah, that's it. Know yourself, love yourself, study yourself, sit still with yourself, and know thyself, and everything can come together. That's about it. And you can reach me, rems.homes. Any real estate needs, all that good stuff, call me. All that.
Okay, hold on, Shelly. Say that again. You want to have, because you have the sources that I know would love to have a conversation about it, because I don't think you was on that talk when we had about the Black Sibyls. They had a really good talk on that. It was way while back. And thank you, A Soldier's Dream. She said she's gonna have to plan a trip to North Carolina to visit Monier's shop. She would love to walk the crystal store and let the stone pick her. Yes, and great conversation. We appreciate you, Queen. Miss Shelley, you said what do you want us to have a talk on? The female power.
Oh, on the absence of the female and how it was shifted to the men when women ran it, and the beginning and how it started and how it ended, all the way from the alphabet on down. Yeah. But it's so much that I wanted to say about it, and I know we ain't got time.
Okay, we'll definitely have to have a conversation on that. Like I said, they did once before. So no, Mr. Van Dorn, any final words for the people, sir?
Well, I don't know if I'm understanding what Shelley said, but the question is, have you in the past, I'm talking to Tammi, have you in the past had a presentation where there was a talk about what happened to the divine feminine, what happened to the mother of everything? And that's a term that I use on a piece of artwork. You'll have to see it. It's titled The Mother of Everything. It's titled Before We Knew, then there's a colon, from the mother of everything. So, and there are cosmological maps that people are navigating with today that have reference to the mother of everything. And there's stories about that make plenty sense to a person who is not indoctrinated with the notion that a deity is a masculine entity. Okay. I'll stop there. I'm asking a question. Have you ever had a program?
We did. We did the talk on the Sibyls by Mama Wata some time ago. The matriarch that controlled before the patriarch. And we did a whole talk on that. But you can get that book on Amazon. I mean, this is another one too.
What's the title?
But the one
what's the title of that one?
This one is Sibyls, ORACULUM, Oracle of the Black Doves of Africa. But the one that we did the talk on was called The Sibyls by Mami Wata, WATA. It's on Amazon.
All right.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
some
can
great
revisit.
information.
Yeah,
Huh?
let's plan to revisit that in the upcoming month,
Okay.
because that
Okay.
was yeah. Yeah.
You
So
don't
Mr.
hear
Van
any
Dorn,
talk about it. You don't hear much talk about it because this is the patriarch.
yeah, but you know what? I just believe that that's changing. That system is coming down. So we are going to be hearing more talk about it.
Definitely.
It's coming down. So Mr. Van Dorn, any final words for the people?
Yes. I did an interview several years ago with a guy named Ingle Jones, I think his name is, and he has this thing called 12-minute conversations, and so he interviews people all over the world, and so he asked me at the end of the conversation, what would you like to leave the listening audience with? 4 words: you are the power.
Mm. I'm always saying that. Tap into it. Tap into it. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Mr. Van Dorn. Thank you. And Shelly, thank you. Miss P, what you got for me?
I would just say the power is found in silence.
You know, I tell y'all every Wednesday, every first Wednesday, and y'all do it. Y'all catch me just when I think. Well, no, y'all said several things that I said this morning on the prayer call that I ministered on. But that's exactly what I was telling the people. Like, we got to spend time within. We got to spend time by ourselves. Even when y'all was saying, "Be still and know that I'm God," I just said that this morning. It's so important now. And actually, and I did a podcast interview with a lady earlier, and I was saying people gotta level up sometimes in silence, which means you gotta spend time by yourself. That's where you get that connection. You hear that voice that's speaking. So Miss P, I love that. Thank you.
That's how you neutralize the mass hypnosis. You neutralize the mass hypnosis by spending quality time in silence. That means none of this stuff that's being projected on any screen or any broadcasting system, none of that. It's like abstaining from the world's madness. And I could, I could go into more, but we don't have time for it. The short of it is this: we have to choose. Well, we have an option to choose to unplug. Okay, that's matrix language. Okay, not everybody that's on this call has seen the Matrix movies or made sense of them, but to unplug really means to return to self-awareness as opposed to being plugged into a system that is all about manipulation. I'll stop there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something we're gonna have to come back and talk about, because you're absolutely right. You have to unplug. And in fact, it's literally a must that you unplug every single day. You got to take that time. You got to be present, be still, and you got to, like you said, self-aware is key. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Miss P. Thank you so much, Mr. Van Dorn. Dr. Maya.
Yes, I'll piggyback off of Miss P. Unplugging is good. I've been unplugged for about a year now, and it's the best feeling. It is. You have to get in tune with who you are to understand where you're going and why you're going through the things that you do go through in life. And unplugging helps a lot. And you can reach me at drmayahara@gmail.com.
Love it. Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Miss Sylvia.
One of my favorites by Dr. Michael Newton. Fearful people sometimes refer to God as a he or masculine. Now chant on that.
Girl, and I was on the phone with her the other day, and I said, yeah, she said, Tammi, I said, I know, Abuela, I know. I just been, now I ain't gonna lie, I've been programmed, but energy, there's no masculine, there's no
Yeah.
go ahead, Mr. Van Dorn.
No, I'd like for you to change your language. I have been programmed. Turn that around and say, I chose to adopt the program. See, there's a difference. There's a difference between saying I have been programmed to be able to say I chose to adopt the program. We're everybody's running a program, but
Yeah.
we're first we choose to adopt the program, and that's how we become slaves or victims of unconsciousness. We
So I think as a kid,
that's what I was getting ready to say. As a kid,
as a kid, you don't know that you have an
it.
option. It's just what you're taught and what you know. I think
But you're not a kid anymore.
No, I wasn't finished.
Okay.
You know, the older you get, then you know that it's a choice. But to just make that statement, even as you know, as a kid, and this is what you were taught and shown, you wasn't making that choice then.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm working on it. I've been working on it, and that's what I told her. I said, I know I keep working on it, but what I was really just saying is like it had been programmed, and you got to think I had been doing that for 50 plus years, so that's why it's hard. But I am fully aware of the he energy, so I am trying to no longer just refer to it as source as one.
So can I just say this? I think this is how I interpreted what Van Dorn said. Once you choose to say, I chose to be programmed, it changes the power dynamic where you're no longer victim, but you're taking back your power.
I receive that.
And I was probably almost 40 years old in a psychiatrist's office and speaking of myself in the third person, as most people do. And he said to me, do not speak of yourself in the third person, but the first person. That was the most frightening thing I have ever done because it meant I had to take responsibility for everything I was saying. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think Van Dorn was saying for you.
Yes, true.
I receive that. I receive that. Yeah. No, definitely good stuff. Good stuff. Miss Sylvia, somebody put in the chat, you a little feisty tonight, huh? And they put the crying and laughing face.
Was that Morgan?
No, it wasn't. It was Soldier's Dream. She's like, Miss Sylvia is feisty. I love it. I love it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take us out. And you know, I didn't share with you guys because this talk has been so good. But actually, I just recently completed my spiritual life coach certification, and one of the courses in that was intuitive energy healing as well as hypnotherapy. So I actually have the tools to do hypnotherapy and past life regression, but I got to practice on it before I try to do that on anybody. But I was like, whoo, yeah. So what, Miss Sylvia?
I'll tell you about my experience yesterday with past life regression.
You did it? Oh, I'm calling you. I'm calling you, honey.
Everybody is not, all I can say is everybody is not the same. You know, some people can and some people won't. I won't say can't.
Oh, I'm calling you when we get off this line. Oh, he got you in. Okay. All right. So good stuff. And also to another thing that I've also learned in this space too, for those who choose suicide, who's really, and I know this is deep, but I'm going to say it because I feel people need to hear it. I've also learned from Dr. Newton's book and others that a person that chooses to out with suicide could potentially have to come back. So fulfill your life journey is where I'm going with that. fulfill your purpose, whatever you're here to accomplish and to fulfill. Even if you choose to exit the matrix early, all you're gonna do is circle back, and then you could potentially start back in a harder upcoming up something. You just fulfill your purpose, live, fulfill, all that good stuff. All right, let me bring this in. This was a super good talk, guys. I love this stuff because this is about having an impact. So thank you guys so much. So I am just going to say with love, for those who don't know me, I am Tammi B. I am a coach, spiritual mentor, and transformational speaker. I would love to work with you. So there's more information about me at www.tammib.com, as well as my book. On my website, you can I use my story to help you with your story. So go look me up, and I'm rushing because I want us to because we are a little over, so I want to make sure everybody is able to get back to their evening. And also I want to remind everyone to remember, as you see, I now have my speakers on my flyer, those that are going to be a part of the event. So remember, the Pause, Breathe, Grow, Matter discounted early bird tickets have been extended to April 30th. After April 30th, they're going up to the regular price. So please, men, register. Women, share this with men. This was going to be a healing event, and I'm super duper excited about it. And so as always, again, I thank everyone. Panel, I thank you. Monier is gone, but I send her so much love and gratitude and appreciate her for jumping in with us. She put in the chat she had to go, but she would love to be back, and I would love to have her come back with us. Mr. Van Dorn King, thank you so much as always. Miss Sylvia, you the bomb. I appreciate you. I'm calling you when this is over. Miss P, thank you so much. Love you. Shelly, Maya, I'm so grateful for you all being in my life. So I do want to leave you with these final words. In closing, leaving you with this: what's in front of you is a whole world of experiences beyond your imagination. Put your growth and development first. And that quote actually came from Miss Claire Huxtable, Felicia Rashad. My words to go with that: life is a journey to be lived, experienced, and to be had. Some good, some bad. However, they are all part of the process. So open your mind, get out there and see for yourself. Stop hiding behind fear and living vicariously through others. Go experience something you've never ever done before. And as you have these different experiences, keep learning from them, keep growing, keep elevating, and allow them to propel you to the next, then the next, then the next. I think you get the picture. Stay amazing. Peace, love, and blessings.